Parenting has a really key role in digital citizenship. We're going to talk about that next on the EdTech vlog. So I'm here in Hong Kong about to do a digital citizenship workshop at an international school. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And this is one of a series of workshops that I do at schools around the world. And it's so exciting because digital citizenship is really a universal subject, one of the few. You know, we talk about languages or science or these various other things, but because technology has now connected us all together, and technology is now bridging the gap between home and school, digital citizenship, or using technology to be efficient and effective from a very positive outlook, is now becoming such a central theme and central role in what we're doing with computing at home and at school so much. And I get to see that from a cultural viewpoint of doing this in the Middle East, or North America, or Europe, and a lot in Asia. And everybody's approach to parenting specifically with technology is so varied. But there are some universal truths around parenting related to technology and media literacy and screen time and all of these things that I want to talk about a little bit more in depth. Most of the work that I do in schools is around helping the teachers integrate these concepts, because we're finding that with access to technology, the home is creeping into the school. So things that would not normally be the purview of a teacher are now coming in because they're using the same devices at school as they are at home. But there's a reverse to that as well, where parenting requires a greater connection with what's going on at school. And this area of digital citizenship is where we make the connection. So in some schools, I've done this presentation I call Parenting in the Digital Age. And what I talk about is what are the key aspects that one needs to really focus on related to being a parent when your student has access to technology 24 hours a day. Now the plan here is over the next few months, or over a series of videos, we'll go in depth about those parenting issues. But I want to give kind of a primer, a start off, so that we understand what are the basics, what are the elements we have to talk about and consider, and then to give you one key takeaway, whether you're a teacher or educator working with parents in technology, or you're a parent yourself, and you want to make sure you understand what is your role in helping your students be happy and healthy and safe. Now, I've said this a number of times, and I'll repeat it here because it's very important to me. When we talk about digital citizenship and technology, I hope that we take a positive viewpoint, and not this deficit model that there are a number of dangers and things that can really hurt us out on the internet. We got to protect kids against those. That's true, those are there. But there's also the opportunity for students to grow their personalities, to find themselves and get a footing in the digital world as much as the non-digital, or quote unquote real world. But see, that's the key here, and this is where the important point is and the partnerships come. For students to grow in the digital world, they need parental presence. Parental presence is absolutely key. Just like when we teach our kids how to interact with others and be kind, to eat your vegetables, whatever they are, to not say things to certain people and stay away from strangers, or to express yourself and argue your opinion in certain ways. We do those as parents so that we can get our morals and our family values across to kids in a face-to-face manner. But we find that kids will then go onto their computers or whatever device they're using, and in many cases, the parental presence is not there. So it's absolutely key that parents have a presence within these spaces. Parents should engage in the same technology and communication tools, games and apps that their kids are doing. If your kid has a Facebook page, and they probably don't at this point, to be totally honest, because it's 2018 as I'm recording this video, and most kids aren't going on Facebook because that's where their parents are. But that's the point. We have to be there. The parents have to be on Instagram. They have to use Snapchat. They have to use Minecraft or Fortnite or any of these other tools, so that by being there and having your face in the WhatsApp or the instant messaging or the Facebook Messenger, by having your face there, then your presence is there. And having those interactions, parents can help. Parents can be there and extend what they want in terms of their morals, as I said, the ways of interacting and protecting their kids. By being there, the kids will understand that, and when that presence will have an effect. The dangers we find and the issues we find are when kids are left alone and they go into isolation. This is when parents don't know what's happening. They don't know what their kids are doing, and this is when they run into issues of using the technology too much. Screen time gets out of control, or they say things and do things that causes them problems, or they have personality changes. It's because they're not being influenced the same way they are in the quote-unquote real world. So we'll talk about that more in depth in another video, but I just want to talk to you about a few things that where the parents have a role in digital citizenship. The first one is going to be around ergonomics. It's very helpful for parents to focus on the physical elements of using technology. So don't have a foot up and sitting on the couch and you're all twisted and turned, typing where your wrists are mingled and turned and all sorts of weird things. That's going to cause major damage and bad habits going forward. And because these kids are kids and students are younger, they need to get into good habits now. So help with the ergonomics. Next, we talked about the engagement piece. It's very important that parents have a role within the tools that the kids are using to show empathy, to show influence, to show understanding of what's going on. That presence has such a valuable and powerful thing. And it's not only presence, but then the third thing then is engagement. Making sure that you engage with kids. Send them a WhatsApp. Do a Skype call with them. Get into Minecraft and do horribly and have them explain to you what you did wrong. Get involved and get engaged, and your influence and your understanding will better connect you with the kids. Fourth is going to be modeling. Model the behavior that you're looking for out of your kids. If you want them to read and put the technology down and not use it in the bedroom and not say nasty things, don't do it yourself around them. And I know it's very difficult because we use our technology so much more and so differently now. But you can do these things and you can try and avoid doing the things you don't want them to do, but you can also talk about them. Make sure you're very clear and understanding about what is right and wrong and appropriate and inappropriate for you and your family. And that kind of leads us to number 5 is have a clear understanding of what the rules are. And this is age specific. With the younger ones, we tell them very clearly this is what you can and can't do. With kind of the middle-aged children, we start having negotiations. And then with the older ones, we talk about consequences and them and their own actions. But you need to have some consistency around what the family rules are related to technology and sharing information and pictures that you send and all these sorts of things. And then we also need to help them understand, this is kind of number 6, the notion of personal data. What is appropriate and inappropriate to share on the internet? And it's going to have some very clear rules about what's personal and what's not, what's safe and what's not. They're going to hear this in other places, but you need to guide them as we do in other elements of kind of adolescent growth. That's part of being a parent in this space. And I think you'll find that with all of those 6 areas and more, we'll add even more as we do this video series, that the teachers will help you understand kind of how they're doing it at school, and you can use similar language and you'll have resources to connect to. And then you can always go online and connect with other parent groups. The last thing I'm going to mention, which is not really mentioned a lot in these parent sessions around educational technology or in digital literacy or what's right and what's wrong. I come from a background of being an American. I grew up on the West Coast in California. My background is very unique to me. But I live and work in Asia, which means I work with a lot of Asian families. I work with a lot of expat families, Europeans, Middle Eastern families, everything, South Americans, anywhere in the world, they have worked with me. And what we know is everybody's different. So it's very important that you understand your own cultural and background lens as you take your approaches to parenting online. And maybe don't always take the lead of somebody else. If you're an East Asian parent and you have some beliefs, that might not match what a continental European parent's going to believe. But there's an ability to dialogue there, which is helpful. However, you need to control and understand how you're going to approach family values and rules and influences within your experiences and your desires, and not have other people tell you what to do. So it is okay to not do the same things that the parent down the block is doing, as long as you're conscious of setting a good example and making sure that digital citizenship is a positive thing for you and your kids and the connections you have with the technology in the school. All right, so again, hopefully this is just a beginning. And we can continue the conversation more later on through a series of videos and some interactions. And there's a lot of ways to connect. So hey, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel below, down at the bottom here, where we'll put other things up about digital citizenship, around parenting, around these cultural elements of learning. Well, I'll talk about all of those things through my lens of having had the opportunity to work with schools around the world. And also, if you're on Twitter, please follow me on Twitter. My handle is @MattHarrisEdD, and I share a lot on my Twitter. So I come across a number of articles that are really helpful to parents and schools around digital citizenship. I publish my own works, and very often previous presentations, including some of these parenting pieces, will come through my Twitter channel. It's a great way to interact, and it's a really strong method for us to connect. So please connect with me there. And come back frequently, because I'm going to add more and more videos about parenting and digital citizenship and kind of the best approaches for using technology for learning. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a great day.